All right, now we're live. And so, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Grill a Christian. So, tonight we have a very great show for your entertainment schedule for the evening. On the panel, we have Thaddeus, Wayne, the other Wayne. They usually would say stuff like the other Judas, not that Judas. And we have Achiwawa. And so we are going to be taking your questions. And even if somebody in the panel has a very interesting question to bring up, I guess the group can tackle that question and have a very fruitful conversation from it. So,
Did you just want Christians on this panel then?
No. we need unbelievers. We need it.
Oh, cool.
If you don't believe in God, please come in. Don't leave the country. We need you because God needs money. He always needs money.
Wow. Or even if you do believe in God, but you're not a quote unquote believer, you can still come in.
Yeah, you can still come in. Just make sure you give us your money.
Well, what do you accept, PayPal or cash?
Check.
Okay.
I'm about to open.
You accept IOUs?
What do you say?
Do you accept IOUs?
Oh yeah, bonds are great. Yeah.
Okay. Well.
Okay, I just turned the watch page on. Hey Jerry, how you doing? All right. So Wayne, are you there in Achiwawa? Are you there? Mic check. Mic check.
Yeah, I'm here. So I mean, do we have people in the live chat, or because I could ask?
Hope so.
We have people tuning in. Why I didn't go on the Great Debate Community is because somebody actually scheduled a hangout for 9 o'clock on that channel.
Yeah.
So I'll do. Yeah.
You better get some live chat questions. I want Devil's Advocate.
Yeah, I mean, I could bring up a topic, but I mean, I'd rather have other people.
Yeah, don't do that. Garbage.
Wayne had a good question that we always tackle in the Great Debate Community, but Wayne doesn't really touch on like a lot of this stuff. Like on his day to day, he's usually just talking to people about like spiritual stuff, like just like, hey, I became a Christian, and if you want to see the evidence is in my life. I used to do this, and now I don't do this anymore. And so Wayne has that kind of approach. And so he asked me questions that we deal with in the community. And I think his question was, what was God doing before he created the earth?
I think that's unanswerable.
I mean, I could show you. Look into a telescope. You can still
Wait. How would a telescope explain what God was doing before he created the earth?
Because there are stars that are older than the earth, and so you can look into the past and you can see stars being, created.
Oh, okay. Wait, I'm sorry. I feel like an idiot. I was thinking about what you were saying, like what God. I was thinking you said what God did before the Big Bang. I'm an idiot.
That's what no, my brain immediately went there. My brain went.
Yeah, not the heavens and the earth, just the earth. I can't show you what he was doing before he created the heavens.
Me and Kaiser went to the exact same place. I said me and Kaiser over here went to the exact same place. We thought you meant universes.
Yeah. No. Just the rock we live on.
Well, I mean, I'm that's where really the science part has. I have no choice but to let it kick in. I mean, well, when you're dealing with the cosmic microwave background, you're dealing with redshift, you're dealing with absorption and emission, and I really don't know how to dismantle that, and to satisfy anything as far as young Earth creationism.
Oh no, younger creationism is dead. Just like every star we look at. Well, I think that was a really good question, X, because like I always run into like those type of questions from people. Like when I go out to there's a college in Philadelphia I go to, and I go there and I evangelize, and people ask those type of questions like, what was God doing before He made the earth? What was God doing before He made the universe? Why is the universe so old? Why is the universe so big? How come God did it this way? Couldn't a God made the universe another way? And those are some really good questions, like to tackle, as a matter of fact. So, like, wait, everybody in here is a theist, right? Of some sort, some flavor.
Yeah, some sort.
Or flavor, or variety. So, why is the universe the way it is?
I do have a really interesting question, and it's just something to throw out there. If there are other civilizations, and if there are other which I don't see any reason why there wouldn't be, but what I don't see how they could not have go through the same process of where am I come from, where am I here, all that stuff, and if I don't know how to really go through this question, but hello.
Mm-hmm.
I thought somebody else was trying to say something. That's why I stopped talking.
No, we're listening.
Well, no, I was just wondering what is this supposed to be some thing that happens? Is it a part? What I come from? Why am I here? All that stuff. Is that really such a natural part of sentient life where it would pop up, in any civilization or culture that would come into sentient or self-awareness anywhere?
So is it a rarity for sentient life forms to ask these type of questions, or are they pretty normal questions to want to ask?
Yeah.
Well, you got to give us an example of alien life first that can do this.
Well,
Then we can answer that question.
I think that number one. So to answer your question, what I'll say is I'll start off with this. If you see any movie in Hollywood that's produced where the scenario is usually aliens, they always just show the aliens, but they don't show where the aliens came from. You don't see their world or their planet. And absolutely.
Not true.
Huh?
Some movies do.
I was really thinking about like stuff like the movie Contact. That's a pretty well.
I don't think I've seen a movie.
Cameron's Avatar is like that, where you get to see their homeworld.
Yeah, that's true too.
Well, I'm talking about like the movies where like the aliens are like really evil looking and crazy and stuff. But yeah, like Avatar's pretty good, but you don't really see we know that we had a process of evolution, right? Like we went through 3 billion years of evolution to get to where we are today. You don't really see like scientists trying to trace that process back with other life forms. They kind of make it seem like they just popped up out of nowhere.
What do you mean? That it's kind of vague. What do you mean by that?
What?
I'm talking about as in say the scientists in the movies, when they go to these other worlds or these other planets, they'll find alien life forms, and they don't really dig any deeper in their investigation, as in trying to find out how these aliens came about. I'm talking about like as a population, how did they evolve? Like now we have
Maybe because they don't live long enough in order to do it usually in half these movies.
well, yeah, but they just kind of make it seem like they just popped up out of nowhere, and we know that's not how things happen.
Well, I mean, think about it. Usually, if it's the movies that I'm thinking of, they usually only stay on this planet or so, have a little colony or whatnot, like for like a week or a month or so.
Yeah.
Maybe you get to that whole origin and evolution of the aliens or the xenomorph from the Alien franchise if you got a chance to live long enough to actually do that kind of thing. But
you want to know a good series, sci-fi series that really did delve into past on, as far as evolution? I don't know if you guys ever are old enough to or know or ever delve into the series Farscape. Nobody here ever saw the series Farscape? It was probably one of the last sci-fi original series that like totally kicked ass. It was completely just epic on every level before the Sci-Fi Channel completely tanked and turned into a wrestling channel.
how about Firefly? I'm kidding.
Oh, that was like one of the last ditch. I would say the Lex was the last one before, and Sci-Fi became. I'm not Farscape came right before the Lex, and then after that it just went to crap.
Oh man. I mean, I honestly felt it had something to do with the kind of budget that they had too, because TV doesn't have the same kind of budget as like the movies sometimes.
Oh,
A lot of
I'm
times
sure.
they're working with less.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. That was, of course, it was definitely money related, but Farscape is definitely one of those. It's a series that has like I don't know 4 or 5 seasons, but it ends with like the last season is actually a movie, and it ends it actually has a complete ending and everything. It's awesome. Like if you're looking for a sci-fi that has aliens where you have lots of background of the evolution of the aliens, that is one to look at.
Plus,
to go back, I was going to say to go back on track with your question. I think it's a very natural thing for any type of sentient life that's self-aware. And has the capacity to think like us humans do. I think if there are any other life forms that are similar to us in intellect, I definitely do think they will think about these philosophical questions that we're dealing with today. So I don't think us pondering on these questions are very special. I think the fact that when you look at how pretty much simple DNA is once we understand it, something that's more amazing, because I know people say, oh, look at how complex DNA is and blah, blah, blah. No, like something even greater than DNA is the fact that the DNA inside of a lab, inside of a can now evolve to now that same DNA can look at the DNA inside of the microscope and ask itself, how did it come to be? In the words of Isaiah Sloan, how did the fish become the philosopher? So I think that's even better.
Well, does that answer your question?
Not really, but I don't really think there's I mean, the question. I mean, a rhetorical answer would be really acceptable considering the question, though. So yeah, that's fine.
Right. Well, hey, you find us some sentient species, and we can probably answer the question better for you. All right.
Exactly.
Or at least Wayne.
That's what I meant. That was the thing I was trying to get across. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, hey, if you find some, we'll study them and take them apart and stuff.
I don't think sentient species like you taking them apart very much, unless they're already dead or something.
Oh well. I had to take politics.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see if Wayne, are you still there? Like, I don't know, like what happened. He wanted to have a hangout. I don't know if he left or what.
I'm assuming there's 2 Waynes. I'm assuming. Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Unless he's talking about himself in third person. I don't know why Wayne's running the bank right now. Wayne just answered a good question.
I don't know why Wayne went away. But I'm trying to. I know last time I was trying to answer a question that he had, but it's no point in really answering the question he had if he isn't here
Don't worry.
for the
Every now and
answer.
then I refer to myself in third person too.
Thaddeus is going to the bathroom. Thaddeus is eating cereal.
Oh, yeah.
Thaddeus is eating chocolate. Yeah.
Yeah, it's normal. What do you mean there's two Waynes? You never heard people speak in like third person before?
I'm here.
I had a,
Like Elmo.
there.
Oh, there you go. Wayne, how much did you hear? Or did you were you away for a while?
What you say, what was the question, Wayne?
I said, how much of that did you hear? Was you babysitting?
It took me like 5 seconds to realize what's like the first person that comes to mind when third person point of view conversation is Elmo.
That is, I am not Yahweh talking to myself.
Ah. Well, who knows? Maybe Wayne's actually a puppet.
Yeah, right. I'm too cool to be a puppet.
Oh, okay. You
I'm
ever
a
see
Muppet.
mouth flaps open?
Forget a puppet. I'm a Muppet.
I'm sorry. What's the? Y'all had a question?
Yeah, you're remember the question you had asked me? Maybe it was like yesterday, or maybe I don't know, it was today or something. But you had said, you had said what was God doing before He created the earth, and then you had said something about did you say how old is the earth or something like that? Or there's a question you had. Something.
It was something about like what was there before God. It was like saying what was. I gotta look at it again. Hold on, give me a minute.
Oh, you wrote it down.
Oh, that's why I was going down that line of questioning. I forgot why I even asked that other question. It was like I was thinking about God was probably making other, sentient life somewhere, other places.
Another galaxy.
That's a good answer. Oh, wow. That's a good answer. I mean, I don't know if there's sentient life out there besides us, but that's a good answer. I never thought of it like that.
Yeah. But if you can do it all at one time, then there might not be a need for such a wait. But that's just making it too complicated.
Well, I mean, there's two problems there. Even though he let's say he makes sentient life all at the same time, they're all evolved all at the same time. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'll tell it later.
All right. Well, I like to challenge I like to challenge people on this question because it may seem easy, but they say I think I was on the phone with Wayne and my brother one time, and I asked him what is sin, and I not asking them because I don't know what it is, but I was asking just to see what everybody's opinion on what they think sin is.
Everybody's opinion?
Huh?
Everybody's opinion? So even me and Kaiser can go?
Yeah, because I want to hear different point of views on what everybody may feel about sin. What is it and what it means to them.
Sin for me would be
because we were on a pretty good topic before that. Hold on, let's wrap up what we were talking about before because I wanted to jump to something else and then we can go on.
Sorry, I didn't know y'all was talking about something before.
With the sentient life thing. I was thinking even if God made what? No, I was saying if God made sentient life all at the same time, it would still be a problem because two things. Hello, am I there?
Yeah, you're there.
I'm sorry. Yeah. No, I was saying there's two problems here. Number one, communications. As far as technology and the quantum mechanics and in electromagnetic waves was really how communications is done. I mean, the most powerful X band that you can make is going to disintegrate. It's going to degrade over a very short distance. And when I say short distance, I'm talking about 1 light year. The signal will just degrade to nothing. And on top of that, just the distances alone would make communications just not viable. And as far as what we know now.
Okay, I guess Wayne can do his thing now because he's been trying to butt in.
I'm sorry, I'm muting.
Yeah, Wayne, I think you wanted us to answer now because I think if I'm right, you that was your question, right? Your question was what is sin, and how do we all view it, or what does it mean to all of us?
It's gonna depend on who you ask.
And there's also the enmeshing of the law of the land versus the law of the whatever religion. It's like you have this. It's very subjective when you think about sin. It can be really subjective.
I don't know about that. In
Really?
general, sin is just whatever directs us away from God, pretty much.
And that's where it's questionable because it's like when you talk about sin, it's like, all right, did God create sin or did Satan create sin? And so I asked my brother that one time, and because he's a minister, and I asked him, then who created sin? Did God create sin?
I want to say neither. I want to say on a theological point of view, I would say neither.
Right.
Yeah, we created sin because it's the result of our free choice.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that answer. I like that.
It's
That's
whatever.
exactly what I was thinking.
Sin kind of is whatever goes against like the big man in the sky's own rules, basically. With putting it very simply, without going to more nuanced detail and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So basically, there's like a set of rules you're supposed to follow, and then if you break those rules, you're gonna get sin. There's things you're supposed to do and don't do. So, yeah, there you go. And that next question.
Well, I guess if you want to go even deeper than that, it really correlates to the will of God and how God has different he has different wills. So whenever you somebody just said, sin is the result of us being able to freely choose. So with us being free agents, we can freely choose to do right, which is God's way of doing things, or we can go our own way. But I'm trying to look up, and one of you guys might know this by heart, but the different wills of God, like there's the permissive will, there's the what are the other? I think there's two types of other wills. Permissive. Some Bible scholar help me.
I never even heard of that.
All kind of boils down to the same point, though, right? That's just making a simple concept. More complex by going into all that.
I'm sorry, that is. I was going to ask Wayne, would permissive will, would an example that be something like with the Pharaoh, where God would allow certain, he would allow him to his heart to be hardened and to give him certain freedoms to go as far as he wanted, but would stop him at a certain point. Would that be an example, or?
I think that was a little.
I don't know.
Too complex, but yeah. Well, permissive will being just things that God allows or He permits. So God permits all things. I mean, you could go and you can jump off a bridge if you want. So I wouldn't suggest you do that. Yeah, you can. I'm looking at something from God Questions, and I really don't like GodQuestions.org. I think it's a terrible theological website. But from what I'm looking at, there's God's sovereign will or His.
Hold up, Wayne. I'm sorry to cut you off. Did you say you don't like God questions?
Huh?
Did you say you don't like God questions?
I think he was talking about the website.
No.
Our website.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There's a website called GodQuestions.org, and whoever is the owner of the website, he makes a terrible apologist. But just for time's sake, I'm looking at his definitions for the different wills of God. And so for one, he says God has a sovereign will or his decretive will, his reveal or perceptive will, and his dispositional will. God's sovereign or decretive will is also called his hidden will. It is sovereign in that it shows God to be sovereign. Yeah, he's getting into like Calvinism, which is not true. So I'm not going to take these definitions down. I don't accept his Calvinistic definitions.
No, that was fighting words, man. Can't just say that stuff on Calvinism.
Well, Wayne, I got something to let you know. Look, first of all, I find all of you as really cool people. So I'm hoping you guys don't like just burn me at the stake for telling you this, but I'm actually a Calvinist apostate. I am an atheist, but the fact that you guys are really cool with the way you are very intellectual with the way you guys are talking, I am so cool with it. So like,
Well, to be fair, I'm not Christian either. I just believe.
I'm basically like, what would happen if G-Man would suddenly raise his IQ by like 80 points and deconvert like apostasy, commit apostasy? That would be me.
I'm sorry. What do you? I'm sorry. I really don't know what the meaning is. I'm really not aware of what that means. You said Calvinist apostate.
Kaiser.
What is that?
What?
Oh, I was gonna say, you said that you'd be the result of G-Man, basically deconverting whatever. Basically,
Yeah.
my position is I'm basically G-Man straw man. So you know how basically all atheists are, and that no atheists exist, and that they all just suppress the truth and righteous. That's me. I'm in this.
Wait! You took my job, dude. What the?
Yeah. So I'm basically G-Man straw man. So.
So I am unaware of what that means as far as what does Calvinist and apostate mean?
Apostasy or an apostate is like the noun version of apostasy, which is the verb, means to basically renounce a religion, to throw down a religion, isolate, renounce, basically convert to atheism. Either that it doesn't necessarily mean convert to atheism. It can also mean converting from one religion to another. But in my case, yeah, it would be from Calvinist Baptist to atheism.
So do you actually say
it has to be atheism, or otherwise you're just a heretic?
I guess you might be right. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Believe in?
Oh no, I don't believe in anything. I don't believe in any kind of theism. I don't have any faith in anything.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's like a true apostate. So I think apostate, you actually have to disregard like all religion and whatnot.
Yeah,
so someone like me would actually count as an apostate.
I guess I might have been wrong about that. It's not. I guess converting would be from one religion to another. An apostate would be completely casting out down.
Yeah. Is it a reason why? Is it a reason why you decided not to believe, or is it just chose not to?
Reading the Bible one too many times would be one of the reasons, one of many reasons, but that would be one of them. Probably the simplest one.
Like, so was it something that you read that turned you off from not believing?
Name something.
What did you say?
Just pick something. Just pick something from the Bible. Pick something.
Oh, just pick something.
Yeah.
So pick something that you don't believe in.
Well, I mean, like just there's the contradictions are just beyond. I can't accept. There's just the contradictions are off the charts.
Don't tell me
They're just.
That's the easiest one to review. If anything, I have a problem with something else.
Well, look, I'll give you one. This is one that I just Wayne. Here's the thing. I can't accept the word of the word of God being a static, unchangeable book in which this God created a dynamic, evolving, changing universe. There's a problem there when you have the word of God that cannot be changed or altered. That is the word of a God that made a dynamic, evolving, and ever changing universe. It's just that they you can't put them together at all, as far as I can see.
what do you mean by can't change though? Like,
Well,
I mean, I don't think anybody would say so. So I think people would say that you can't change the words in the Bible, right? But I don't think they would say
what
that.
is it? Is it Revelations 20? Was it 22:18? I believe that you cannot. If any, basically the Bible says at the end of the book of Revelations, if you add or take away anything from the Bible, it's absolute damnation. It's
Well,
a
that's actually a common mistake, I think, because so that's
Yeah.
like people that say like that hold to like sola scriptura say that, but that was specifically written for the Book of Revelations, right? The Bible wasn't compiled at the time that Revelation was built.
It's true. It's true. I don't know. It's just too.
Is it
It's too
possible
subjective.
that in your deconversion you could have overlooked some things as far as interpretation of the Bible?
You probably
Good
could.
question. Wayne.
No. It's just when you see things in the Bible like the sun, like what was it in Exodus where the sun stayed up for 3 days. I'm just not going. I'm not going to give that any kind of value.
Do you
I'm not.
believe so? Are you like skeptic of like the flood too? Like the flood or stuff like Moses did, like standing the water up. You don't believe stuff like that too, right?
The flood, that's a good question. There's a lot of evidence that shows the flood was literally plagiarized. It was an act of plagiarism from Gilgamesh's.
Wayne, you still got that flood model? Wayne,
No,
Well-
I don't. Look.
I would say I
Something's wrong
I
here.
got cut off.
That
So
wasn't
many
a
things
question.
wrong here.
Yeah. Wait. Okay.
So many things wrong here.
Well, the Epic of Gilgamesh is basically a cloned version of the flood, and the Epic of Gilgamesh, the tablets of Gilgamesh, are much older than the Dead Sea Scrolls. I mean, I think it was just a plagiarized version of the Epic of Gilgamesh put into the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Well, I mean, the same is true of the entirety of Genesis, really. But I mean,
Yeah.
I don't really think of it as plagiarism. The way I think of it is they were demythologizing. So basically, if you think about like the story, what is it? The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, right? That's the way I think of it. It's a story meant to tell. It's meant to tell a story, right? It's meant to get across a point, and people could look at that later on and say, "Oh, well, they totally took centaurs from other religions." Well, that's not really the point. I don't think the point of the Bible is to be like some literal truth. I think that they were just using stories from that time that people knew and enjoyed to try to get across a message.
Plus, you're forgetting
regarding
something. If the flood actually happened, either globally or even locally, you could still definitely have some sort of story that tells that event happening written by somebody else who wasn't one of the Bible authors. So sure, maybe the Dead Sea Scrolls came along later on. I don't know. I'm not the historian here. But if that is the case, like you say, then it's very easy that multiple people would have been recording an event as big as that, or even if it was a local flood, if they're in the same area, they might say something else. Or
Thaddeus, I'll extend. I'll go ahead.
floods that happen in the world. Multiple floods happen all over the world. So does every story that has a flood now? Does that mean that that's a copy of another one? How about stories?
Thaddeus, I want to extend you an olive branch here for a moment. You know where the Rock of Gibraltar is, right, in Spain?
No.
Yeah, I
So
do.
go ahead and say it.
There was a point in when I say recent past, I'm talking probably sometime in the last 50,000 years, probably maybe older, not so older than that. There was a point in which that area was connected to Africa, and there was a point in which it broke, and it basically made the Mediterranean Sea. And if there was ever an epic flood in times of prehistory, that would have been it. So I mean it's very possible. I mean that could have been the flood that was spoken about, because that would have been an epic, absolute epic thing.
Right. See, that's a problem. I think the problem is what you're doing is you're taking what people are taking to be what their interpretations of these scriptures that are the typical way out there grandiose interpretation that everything's on a global scale and God poofed creatures into existence, and you're saying, well, if that's true, then the Bible can't be true. But you're just taking the text for itself.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I'm saying I'm not saying that these stories were 100% false. A lot of theology is very much mixed with actual history. Look at the theology look at Greek mythology. Look at Roman and Greek mythology. There is so much actual history that's mixed in. The city of Troy was Yeah, these cities actually existed. Sodom and Gomorrah were actually found. These cities actually existed, and so I mean, you gotta. I know that a lot of mythology can be mixed up with actual history. I'm not saying that's false. But.
And mythology doesn't automatically equal false, but that's another conversation.
Right.
But yeah, but even just talking about stuff like this, where contradictions with history or whatnot. Like, I hope you're not letting it get to the point where, because something doesn't quite line up with history in the way that people interpret that particular scripture, that's influencing your position. You kind of have to take it on its own. There's multiple different ways of looking at the text, and there's some that are more right than others because there's people that actually study this stuff compared to your average everyday layman that just says, oh, God did it this way, evolution can't be real and all this stuff. Like, don't listen to those people. Don't let them influence you.
Yeah,
that's
I
one
love
of the reasons to deconvert.
I love how Kent Hovind says that you should read it like a 5-year-old.
Christian. That's one of the stupidest ways to deconvert.
No, all right. Let's think of G-Man for a moment. I want you guys to really know something about me. My dad was probably dumber than G-Man. And I had to grow up with this guy. And when I say my dad, he still is. It's to a point where I know that I'm probably going to have to take care of the guy when he ends up being 70, 80. And I really pity him now. But dude, I had to grow up with the dumbest parents on the face of this earth. And they were just sucked into this world where it got to where I literally just loathed and hated religion to a point where I guess that really was the catalyst right there. But
sorry to hear that.
Back into like Q&A when you had a question, or even does anybody else have any questions after Wayne? Let me look and see if somebody has any questions.
Did anybody answer my question?
What was your question?
What is sin?
What is we answered because you said the humans make sin, or no, did Satan make sin?
Oh, you know what?
Or did humans create?
Yeah. You know what? He did answer my. I think
then we moved on from there, and then you had asked Kaiser what made him an atheist, and then Kaiser responded, and then you had said something. Then you had said something about the flood.
Yeah, that is answer my question. But I'm good.
Yeah, exactly. Don't act like I didn't say none.
And then now we're here. But I guess my question to ask you guys would be, God could have made the universe any other way. He could have made a great universe, a grand universe. It's not so special. It's not so Um, I guess is this word in trivial is it is very trivial. So why did God make the universe this way if He could have made it any other way? What was the purpose of this?
Who's to say he didn't? I mean, there's a lot of because of the Planck satellite data. I mean, there's a lot of possibilities that multiple universes could have been made that were not as interesting as this one.
Yeah, maybe this is just one of the more mediocre ones.
Well, why would God choose the more mediocre one for His Son to die on the cross? In
maybe He did in other universes at the same time. You don't know that. Now you're just assuming things.
Yeah, the whole infinite multiverse thing's possible.
Yeah, He could have done that. Next
sure,
question.
He got like I'm not. God, He could have done all of those things, but all I'm asking is for like what we do know. We only have one universe to observe right now, so why this one if this is it?
I don't think this is
it. Yeah, well, that's a pretty big claim to make right there, that this is the only one. But if it is the only one, if it is the only one, I mean, maybe this is just the one He decided to create.
Well, wait. Think about it this way. 500 years ago, we would say this is the only world, and 400 years ago, we were like, this is the only solar system. 100 years ago, we would be like, this is the only galaxy. 50 years ago, like, this is the only universe. It's like, what are we going to say? This is the only 100 years from now.
This is the only multiverse. There's multiple multiverses, like collections of universes.
I don't know.
Well, it seems to me that a lot of people got it wrong as far as us being, like I said, so special and so great and so wondrous. And then we found out we're not so great. We're made out of muck and microbes. We're related to apes. We live on a rock revolving around a ball of fire and a very big universe that we are not the center of. And so I guess like when a lot of people found that out, they did become an atheist. Kind of sad.
Yeah, and again, that's a stupid reason to become one.
And I don't think it's true either, because I think that human beings are pretty amazing. And they're a lot more amazing than the fact that there's a lot of stars out there.
Mm-hmm. Plus, just because we're made up of physical material, and spiritual stuff, but just because we're physical like everything else doesn't mean that we can't be special in our own way. Like, shoot.
I don't think humans are special at all physically. I don't think there's anything really special about humans.
So what about?
Maybe that's because you're not an artistic person. But
is there anything special about aliens then?
No, because if aliens do exist, if there are other civilizations, our value actually goes down because we're just one out of a million. So then what?
I don't know about you guys, but I could really go for some claws and fangs. Just the fact that human beings are just so physically fragile.
Yes, we are.
Well, think about it like this.
Huh?
I was going to say that. Think about it like I said something.
Mm-hmm.
Go on.
I was going to say that. Think about it like this. Like, just from an artistic perspective, I think we look very aesthetically pleasing as far as like our symmetry and that goes. We're not just an assortment of random appendages just placed haphazardly. And sure, you can say that we're not completely symmetrical if you really take the fine measurements and stuff. But we're.
Oh, it happened.
But
it was a phone quake.
Yeah. But to add to what he's saying, what about our intellect? What our ability to do science and all of that? If I were to find another civilization like randomly flying around in space that looked exactly like us, or that was intellectual or whatever, I would find that a lot more amazing than some other galaxy with nothing in it.
Yeah, it'd be
Yeah,
kind
but
of boring.
if you find another civilization and their technology surpasses us, whether they're physically pleasing or not, it would prove that we are not so great. And that's my point as a Christian. As a Christian, I'm trying to make the point that humans are not that physically special. It's not about the physical as much as it is the spiritual. So like your value doesn't come from how you're made or what you're made of or how physically what was the word used, Thaddeus? I like that word. Physically
Aesthetically
pleasing
pleasing.
or something.
And
Aesthetically
I would argue
pleasing.
differently, but continue.
It doesn't come from how aesthetically pleasing we are. Our value comes from God and what God says about us and what God thinks about us. And so as a Christian, that would be my argument because it seems to me every time we make these type of arguments where humans are so special because we're so beautiful, we can think about certain things that other civilizations or other species can't think about. It seems like as our science keeps on surpassing different limits, those arguments are constantly being destroyed.
Dude, somebody
Well,
kicked me.
no, I don't think so.
No,
I think it was
a phone
it's a glitch.
It's a glitch. But yeah, that would be my point.
It depends
Humans
though, because
really,
yeah, to the universe or maybe to you, humans are not that special, but I mean to me they are. And same with other creatures and stuff too. There's different things about them that I like. I think that's a very
well, of course
subjective
you
kind
would
of
think
statement.
you're a human.
Well, I mean, but I mean, even with other creatures and that too. Like, I even think there's special things about insects and plants and stuff like that as well. To say that we ourselves are not like anything special or unique, I think that just depends on what perspective you're coming from. If you're coming from a completely natural perspective, as if you have no emotions or nothing, then yeah, I can see your point. But I mean, we do have
Well, I mean, like
emotions, we do have personality, and that can make all the
the
difference in how
whole.
we look at something.
I was just gonna say the whole of creation isn't really that special in the sense that I guess people are like somebody like Ray Comfort. He would say, "Oh my gosh, look at how perfectly aligned or designed your hands are so they can grab an apple," or "Look how perfect this is for that." And I don't think people understand that these things are not really perfect at all. I mean, like a really good example atheists use is that our throats could have been designed way better. I mean, we eat and drink out of the same slot we freaking breathe out of, and people die uh, from that, all the time. So I mean, couldn't a God made a better design? And I'm a Christian saying this, just playing devil's advocate. I mean, certainly God could have did stuff a lot better, but He didn't. So it's like, it took God what 4 billion years to make the Earth and 13 billion years to make the universe, and this is the best He can come up with.
Well, and sometimes it's not about coming up with your best. Sometimes it's coming up about how you want things to function. Now, sometimes, yes, it is good to work on your skills and all that. But as an artistic person, sometimes you just want to make things a certain way, even if you know sometimes that you can do something better. Or every now and then you're going for a certain style or a certain feel, or you want something to look or sound or whatever, because I do music as well, a certain way, despite the fact you can say, oh, this can be better if I do this or not on a more technical level, but it's like I'm going for a certain aesthetic feel or something here. And if you think someone who is very intelligent, like if we're going to give God this much credence, can we not say that God doesn't just do the most logical thing all the time? That maybe instead He has creativity as well. He decided to do something a certain way because He's going for a certain aesthetic.
That's a good response. I like that. Well, I will say, as far as evolution goes, when we're looking like the geologic column, and we find the different species of things, even those different species that died off, they do show God's creativity. I mean, look at Tiktaalik. I mean, who would have thought about something like that? Or you find what's another weird looking? Oh, you guys ever see a bear dog? It's literally a prehistoric animal that's like related to all dogs and all bears, and we call it a bear dog. The actual name is like Amplocephon or something like that, and it looks really crazy. But yeah, even those type of animals, like you're right, like they would show God's creativity and His sense for like just wanting to try new stuff.
Yeah, that's why in a way I kind of argue for both quote unquote intelligent design and evolution at the same time, because I do see there is some sort of aesthetic among a lot of different creatures with the type of symmetry they use. The classic 4 or 6 limb structure. Usually creatures, not all the time, but usually creatures have like 2 eyes, 1 nose, 1 mouth, 2 ears. Yeah, that kind of similar aesthetic that kind of plays. It's almost like God kind of has like a style that made us just coming from our
And you remember what I had said about trade-offs. We look at things like evolutionary trade-offs, where dinosaurs might have died off in a sense, but then they made a trade for flight, and now dinosaurs are birds. And so you can kind of relate that to God's character, where God uses certain things for the end goal in mind. So,
have you guys ever seen those time-lapse videos on YouTube where you'll have it's where biologists test antibiotics, especially third-generation antibiotics, to see how long it takes for them to adapt through mutation. And I don't know. I mean, biology is probably I will say it is my weakest area of science. But one thing about mutations in natural selection that is assured in nature is that the more simple the organism is, the faster it adapts because it's simpler. And when you look at these huge petri dishes, I'm talking about, when I say petri, I'm talking about like 4 feet squared in the perimeter is 4 feet squared, and they'll have one section, column after another from left to right. With better and better antibiotics, and they'll spread out real slow, spread out, and then they'll just spread out, and they'll eventually reach to the end, but it gets harder and harder for them to reach to the end because the mutation, basically, they'll actually mutate and change their DNA so quickly that they'll just adapt to it. And whichever mutations survive are best suitable for the next stream of antibiotics go through. Most of them don't, but the ones that do, and it makes another tree, and that makes another tree. But it just amazes me how you could literally see natural selection right at play in not real time, but it's a time lapse over a couple of weeks. But if any of you want to just YouTube antibiotics. Or bacteria resisting antibiotics. So you eventually will find it. You will see these huge 4 feet diameter petri dishes and just at play. It's just amazing.
That's another one too. I know reason to believe they make the argument that everything in existence was made for the benefit of mankind, and so they'll argue that God created certain.
Okay, look, Wayne, that is absolute bullshit. Everything is out to kill us. Nature is out to kill us. The universe is out to kill us. Like if you look around, everything is out to kill us.
No. Their argument is that, as far as when I say to benefit mankind, their argument would be God made creation for the purpose of redemption, which I think that's actually more like old school, like first century Christian theology. So I think they're onto something.
There was, well, I know you're probably not going to like this because it came from Carl Sagan, but he made a really good point, and I know that after listening to this very carefully, Carl Sagan was a really an advocate against narcissism in all ways. He just really identified narcissism so regularly. And there was one monologue he made about he was making quotes from the philosopher Immanuel Kant, where he was saying, I'm going to paraphrase as best I can, he's saying without the creation of man, everything in the universe would be in vain. All events of the universe would be in vain and have no final end. And if you really think about it, and that's a very selfish, narcissistic thing to say. And Carl Sagan actually referred to as self-indulgent folly, and he went on to talk about the principle of mediocrity. And it's just that really made me think a little bit. How it really you really need to be practice a little humility. When you literally look around about things.
I was the person a couple minutes ago saying humans aren't that special. You guys are like, no, we are. We're so great.
I didn't say that, not me. But yeah.
But as far as the theology goes, I would just go and I would argue, because that was RTB's argument. That's their argument. But my argument is, it's not about us. So I mean, like, humans are very contingent. That's okay.
Well, I wasn't trying to say that maybe the universe or whatever has us in mind necessarily, but I mean, we can still kind of make our own meanings of things. To say that we have
stop. I think humans need to stop trying to figure out what our specific purpose is in the universe, and we need more astronomers and more astrophysicists and philosophers so we can try and find out what is the purpose of the universe.
I think people should quit trying to find the meaning of life and just make their own. At least that's what I'm doing. So.
Well, my personal philosophy, isn't far off from that. Which is we need to find a way to survive as long as we can, because this world won't last forever. We're gonna have to get off this rock at some point or another.
I think we already know the purpose of the universe. It's simply to reflect the glory of God.
There you go. Calvinism, everybody. Next question.
I would agree with RTB's first premise that the universe was made for redemption. And that's, of course, because I'm a Christian. You see this two creation model where there's first creation, and God uses this creation so he can draw us into the next creation. And so now you don't have like some random universe that's just here and humans are just here and God just made us because he was bored.
Well, I didn't say he made us because he was bored, but he can kind of create things because why not? I don't know, you guys aren't helping me here. I mean, shoot, I'd like to be able to relate to God in some way. Could he not be like artistically minded? What if you want to do it for an art project?
Well, I agree with you on that, actually. But I mean, I just think that ultimately the purpose has to be for God himself, right? It can't be for anything outside of him.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Well, that seems to follow. I don't know if anyone's in a disagreement there.
Right.
I think we're all kind of on the same page.
So,
someone was supposed to grill you guys. What's going on?
Speaking of grilling, no, I was looking at the other Hangout, man, and the Great Big Community Hangout, main Hangout. Dude, they are like meat grinder in there right now.
What's going on? Shit.
It's. I don't even want to go in there. I'll be on the side chat just messing around, man. I don't even want to go in that.
What is it?
Crap.
That sounds like my kind of thing. Like excitement.
I don't know. It sounds like a cat fight in there right now.
What are they fighting over? What's the main subject?
It's. I don't know. I didn't stay long enough to find out, man. It was.
The Hangout's on the moral argument.
Oh, okay. I don't want moral stuff. Okay, that's just boring.
Well,
I like Will. I think his moral argument is really terrible.
I agree.
Most moral arguments are pretty terrible and boring.
You ever in a situation where you walk in a room and see two chicks just like fighting, like not like straight up like fighting like guys, but like just talking that shit, just smack talking, like the point of finger, like just like the first instinct's like get the fuck out of it, like don't even just leave. That's pretty much the instinct I had going in there.
Well, I was gonna say that I'd probably be kicked out too, because like there's only one morality, right? Everybody else just has individual values.
Wayne, you're still there. You didn't say anything in a minute.
Subjective morality is just your opinions, which is okay because I have my own opinions too. But there's can only really be one morality, in my opinion.
Well, that's like your opinion, man. You said it, man. Nobody fucks with a Jesus.
I don't know. I thought of a good question to ask you guys, but I think I already know what the answer is going to be, and it'd be a waste of time.
What's the most used meme you guys have ever used? What's like your favorite meme that you like to just? It's so convenient that just works out all the time.
I have a favorite meme, but I didn't use it yet. But I have a meme that it's not even a meme. It's more like a screenshot. King Crocodile, and he's responding to somebody who's a flat earther, and he's like, "Stop being retarded! Stop being retarded! Stop being retarded!" And it goes on for like a whole page. So whenever I see a flat earther or younger creationist, I'm just gonna post it and be like, "Stop being retarded."
It's not a matter of if, it's when.
Sometimes it is a matter of if. Some people are really stubborn. You never know.
Oh, Wayne, are you there? I have a really good question for you.
Yeah, I'm still here.
All right, this question is not meant to come out of disrespect or anything, but you know me, I'm a man of science, and in science, what we do is I was talking to when I talked to Tariq today too, and I basically explained to him that in science we don't necessarily deal with proving anything. In science, we falsify different things so we can come to the best conclusion. And so, Wayne, what falsify your belief in Christianity if you found out that, I don't know, whatever would falsify your beliefs were true? What would cause you to not be a Christian anymore?
You just dropped out.
Oh, what would cause you not to be a Christian anymore? What will falsify your belief in Christ?
I'm sorry, can you say that question again? Because I had it, my phone just ended the call for some reason. Wayne, ask that question again because I just got back on, but my phone ended the call by mistake. I don't know what happened.
It was a phone glitch. But I said, what will falsify your belief in Christianity?
Wow, could be reading the Bible.
That's an actually tough question. It's a tough question and tough question to answer because, well, an easy answer for me, I ain't nothing that could falsify for me to believe in Christ because I just believe in him. I don't really. What do you mean by falsify? What do you mean? What do you really mean?
So what would prove to you? What in the world?
Wait, when you got something on your background.
Can you guys hear me? Hello?
Yeah.
I hear you.
I think it was like a huge time lag. I think it's okay now.
I said,
yeah, I can hear you.
What would prove to you? So I said there's nothing that would falsify your belief in Christianity. But I'm asking you that because at least in science, you have to come up with predictions, right? And your predictions have to be able to be falsified. So we know whether it was a good prediction or a bad prediction. And if certain predictions come out to be true, then it's most likely that your scientific model is correct. So let's think of Christianity as a model or as an explanation. And this explanation needs predictions that we can falsify. And so, let's say Christianity predicts that, I don't know, there was a man named Jesus. It predicts Jesus' existence. So you should find evidence that Jesus existed. And
Oh, it's pretty. Go ahead. Go ahead.
and one prediction I made for myself, if I ever find some, and this is just one, but I have many different predictions. But what we should expect to find if Christianity is not true, and this is just for me, is if we find a historical document that was written within a time frame of either Jesus's resurrection or around the time that the gospel started being recorded or being written, that that counters the story of the disciples. Like if we dig in the dirt and we find, let's say, a scroll and it says, I was there at Jesus's resurrection, or even they could say, I was there when people said Jesus fed those people with 5 loaves and 3 fishes, and that never happened, and it turned out to be an authentic document. Oh my gosh, I probably would really be reconsidering my faith. And I think
How would you prove
that
that's authentic, though? We already do have gospels and stuff that claim that Jesus didn't do a whole bunch of.
That's the point. So that's actually a good question. So that's the point. Those writings, we know they're not authentic. And I'll give you a good example. So the Book of Mark, we actually talked about this last week, I think. The Book of Mark, there actually is a short version to the Book of Mark, and there's a long version. So the version in your Bible, it goes up to like Mark chapter 8, verse 21. The real Book of Mark goes up to like chapter 8, verse 8, and it ends. Your Bible keeps going. Those verses that it keeps going with, they're not authentic. They're not the original. And so because we know the difference between the original, or what is authentic and what is not authentic, we can do the same thing with other documentation. And we can say, okay, this is authentic, this is not authentic. So if we did find like an authentic counter document, and it was written from the perspective of somebody else who was there. I saw Jesus supposedly heal this blind guy, and it didn't happen that way. You better believe I would like be questioning my faith, and I think I would have a good reason to, at least. But nothing like that has come up yet. Things like that have sort of come up, and they themselves have been falsified. So I think that gives more credence that Christianity is true. But Wayne, so going back to you though, what would shake your faith?
I mean, well, shake what would shake my faith? It's really nothing that could really shake my faith. I had things that challenged my faith, that made me really like basically want to study more, and it basically get like more as far as knowledge wise. If you want to get more knowledge outside the Bible, I think get more knowledge outside the Bible would be more good too, because then I could reach people, and not just reach people just from a Bible standpoint or biblical standpoint or Christian standpoint. You always good to reach people from. You don't just have to talk to people just about the Bible all the time and about God all the time. You could reach them in so many different ways. But what can shake my faith? Nothing, because I have so many things that God has revealed to me and God has showed me. It's so many things that show me that God is real, and so many things that God, my relationship with God, that He has showed me and He has revealed to me. So there's no way I would just stop believing in God because of situations that may come up or whatever the case may be. But even if it's a question or something that I can't, that somebody asks me and I can't answer it, I still won't just stop believing, because like people have speculations or people have reasons to why they don't want to believe in God. My thing is, like, I know for myself why I believe in God, and that's all that matters. As long as you know for yourself, and I know for myself that it's been things that, for first and foremost, I've been raised in church, and I know a lot of people may say, "Oh, that's why you believe in God," and that's not why I believe in God. Because I'm not a religious person. I'm not religious as far as believing in, religion, believing in like I don't believe my belief is a religion. I don't believe that Christianity, as far as when people like when I say I'm not a Christian, when I say Christianity, like to me Christianity is about believing in Christ, but you believe in Christ. That's what Christianity is. But a lot of the people, they look at it from a different standpoint and say, they look at it from a race standpoint as well. Well, Christ ain't white, he's black, and and it's like all this stuff.
Okay, well, wait, anybody who says that is absolutely fucking insane. The term Gentile, I'm pretty sure you know where I'm going with this, Wayne. Gentile has no race. Correct me if I'm wrong.
They used to say when I was coming up in Sunday school, they used to say that the Gentiles means that's basically considered the black people. And the Jews
no. A Gentile is somebody who is not a Jew, or a Gentile is somebody who really is not someone who is somebody who does not believe in. Well, that's Old Testament. It is the original definition is somebody who's not a Jew.
As an unbeliever, somebody who isn't Jewish.
It changed. The definition changed in the New Testament. It went from somebody who's not Jewish to somebody who is not a Christian. So I mean, in all intents and purposes, the term Gentile means somebody who is not a Christian. Oh no, sorry, I said that wrong. I said that completely ass backwards. A Gentile is somebody who is not he really is not a Jew and not in and the I mean I don't know how else to describe it. It's not a Jew.
Oh man, my thing is like they try to they say see, this is why I'm not religious and I'm not in the tradition. Like I'm not a believer of the religion and the tradition, because a lot of times what it does is separates and it just takes away from the true meaning and what the whole purpose of what God is and what Christ is. Basically, when you saying Christ is God's son, so and that's where a lot of speculations came too. A lot of people just they just want to know. A lot of people just want to know the truth, and they are quite. And that's the thing about Christ. It's like you're open. You're going to ask a lot of questions because you want to know. I think that's where I talked to Wayne one time. I think that's where the base is at. That everybody want to know the truth, and that's why you can't judge nobody and condone anybody's belief and come against anybody's belief, because at the end of the day, whatever somebody believes that's true, that you can argue all day, but that's what they going to believe. Everybody has an open free will, open mindset to believe and do whatever they want to do, and so that's where it's like you can't just come at somebody and belief and all that. You can't judge, but you can talk about it. You can talk about things that may concern you about what somebody may believe in, and as long as not offending them, and I look at it like this too. Me believing in Christ ain't hurting nobody. You know what I mean? And me believing in Christ is not a bad thing. You know what I'm saying? I hear from a lot of people, and this is not the boast, but I hear from a lot of people, I'm a great man, I'm a good man, I am a great man. I'm a great uncle, I'm a great, man of God also. I love people, I care about people, I try to help people as much as I can. I try to minister to people. So, it's really about your inner self, like how it helps you and what it does to you. Like if I'm reading a story out of the Bible and it's talking about how Jesus helped a lame man walk. Well, it's a lot of ways you can look at that story and learn from that story. You know what I'm saying? Learn from that story, learn from that example, and when you apply it to your life, it actually helps you. Like, you know what I mean? When I seen a lame man walking, sometimes
I want to play devil's advocate. I said I do want to play devil's advocate for a minute and challenge you a little bit.
Wayne,
Earl-
before you
Earl-
do that, Wayne, before you do that, can I tell Wayne something real quick? Look, Wayne, I'm talking about not Adam Wayne, but the other Wayne. Dude, first off, I gotta give you kudos, serious kudos, man. I'm the kind of person who, first off, I don't see any conflict with science and religion. As they can exist perfectly happy in their own rights in their own worlds, and they don't have to conflict with each other at all. And I see so many people, for example, in the great debate community, that want to just force science on religion on science, try to make them just force them on it. And I try to be this moderate as best I can. Like, dude, it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. You can't do that. You can't take a belief and mesh it with something you could test. You just can't do it. But at the same time, it's very easy to take the two and have them coexist in harmony. And Wayne, I gotta give you kudos. You are probably the first person, I gotta say the first person, well, maybe outside of another one, maybe the second person I've ever known in this community that actually is successfully able to do that. And I gotta congratulate you for that, and I really respect you for that.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Not you, the other Wayne.
Yeah, the other Wayne?
The other Wayne.
What you say?
Wait,
Yeah,
Wayne.
Hey, Wayne, we got to do something about this one. Call Wayne D. Wayne. Just call me Wayne.
Yeah, not D. Wayne. I'm talking about Wayne.
All right, there you go. But Wayne, I do want to play devil's advocate for you because you probably don't know anything about this. You don't stay up to date on like this type of stuff. It doesn't really interest you. But a couple years ago, you know who Bill Nye is, right, Wayne? You should.
Say it again.
Bill Nye, the science guy.
So who?
Bill Nye.
Oh God, Wayne. After all that credit I gave you, oh God.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
I'm sorry. I'm over here multitasking, man. I'm sorry, guys. I was trying to hear what you saying.
No, I was saying, do you know who Bill Nye
the
is?
science guy?
Yeah, Bill Nye, the science guy.
Oh yeah.
Don't make me sing the song.
But a couple of years ago, Bill and I had a debate with a younger creationist named Ken Ham. You guys know this debate. Wayne doesn't know.
Wait, no, his name is Ken Devil's Ham. Devil Ham. Yeah, Ken Devil Ham.
And they had a debate on whether Noah's Ark really happened. The way young Earth creationists think it happened, because I don't think it happened the way they think it happened. I really could care less whether it happened at all. I don't care. But at the end of the debate, somebody asked both of the debaters, "What would change your mind?" And Bill Nye said, "Evidence would change the mind." And Bill Nye was the skeptic. He was the atheist. And Ken Ham said, "Nothing would change his mind." And what he demonstrated to the world as a Christian was that he was closed-minded, that he wasn't willing to evaluate different evidences, and that his faith was actually a blind faith. And so my question to you is, you said that nothing can change your belief in Christianity. Yeah, and so my question is, how do you know that your faith isn't a blind faith either if you won't change your mind based off of the evidence?
Maybe it is.
Well, like I said, man, it's not you know, I'm trying to get my thoughts together because I got like 1,000 thoughts going through my head. So I'm
I'm
trying to
just
get.
trying to hit you with a good question because if we don't have these type of questions, it gets boring.
Say it again.
If we don't have these questions, it just gets boring, and we don't have any more viewers.
So,
Ratings, people, ratings.
all right. Well, you know, the thing is, like, the reason why I can't, like I said earlier, the reason why I don't change my faith for anybody and no cause because I had too much. It's like God has shown me too much to be able to just turn back just because of a certain, situation. Like, as far as like let's say Wayne, just like you, just like Wayne being my best friend. Like, I'm not going to not, just because you believe differently or just because you're a scientist and I'm not, a scientist doesn't mean I should just not have you as my friend because I'm not a scientist. You know what I'm saying? So just because I believe in God and something happens, let's say a certain situation happen or, whatever the case may be, something happens, I should just stop believing because it's so to me, I can't stop believing because I have so much that proves that God is, real to me that I can't just like stop believing in him. You know what I'm saying? Like that it just won't
Right, but
nothing
what would
nothing
prove that God doesn't like?
it's
Yeah,
nothing that will shake now to answer your question, there's nothing that will shake, me to and that's the goal that I believe Satan that he, yes, I believe in Satan. I believe he's an enemy, and the reason why I believe in the enemy because of the fact that the evil stuff that goes on in this world and everything that the Bible says about evil, it literally
yeah, but don't you think
possesses
that's
us.
being closed-minded? If there's nothing that can change your mind,
Say it again.
you think that's being closed-minded? If there's nothing that can change your mind,
No, that's not being closed-minded. You know, closed-minded is when you don't want to, like me. I'm not closed-minded. I'm open to believe. I'm open to accept other things as far as listening. And like I said, applying it and try to see if if it may have effect on me or not. But it's not going to change my mind because of the fact that, like I said, like you said, just like a perfect prime example about you. Before you never believed in evolution. Before you was a whole against. You was against evolution, right? So what I mean, nobody could change your mind at the time. Nobody could change your mind about everybody did. Trust me, you had Google Hangouts and I was there. You had Google Hangouts many times of people telling you, Wayne, you're crazy. Evolution is true. And you was like, no, it's not. It's not true. And you know what I mean? So nobody could change it. Nobody could have changed your mind at the time. Only you could have changed your mind. So you if you want to say that's closed minded, then I guess you could say that. But I don't look at it and I don't believe it as being closed minded because it's
I
not
think
being closed minded. At the time, you just believe what you believe because you had the
but
evidence.
what
I
happened
think it's
was
close. I think it's closed-mindedness, but I think it's a smart kind of closed-mindedness.
I mean, it's just like to the fact that how can you say that's closed minded, but that's what you believe. At the end of the day, that's what you believe.
Look, you
You
guys.
believe. Well, matter of fact, you could say closed minded. Like I said, you could say that. You could say that because at the end of the day, you're stuck to what you believe, and then all the other stuff you close off because that's not really important at that time. Like that's not really all the other
Like
stuff. Not to say it's not important, but it's like you're focusing off of one thing. Like if I'm looking at it from a belief system, I'm believing one thing, and all the
I
other stuff I'm closing off. I'm
I'd
closing
say
off
it's
because
closed-minded, but it's more of a smart kind
Look,
of closed-minded for
yeah,
that
well,
specific topic.
look,
I mean, I could
Thaddeus,
say that. I guess
Dwayne. I say Wayne's got you both. I mean, because you know why Wayne's winning this is because Wayne is keeping this theological where it belongs, and he's actually doing a damn good job.
which one?
No, we
Which
don't
you
think
talking
I
about?
don't
Big?
think
You talking about?
what I'm
You talking
to
about?
say, but
Wayne, man, he's I mean, from a he's keeping it
You talking about
theological.
Wayne?
I'm talking about you.
Oh,
You're
me.
doing
Oh,
really. I mean, you're I mean, you're keeping it real. I mean, I never thought I would say this, but dude, from you're keeping it at a theological standpoint, uh, and I gotta give you kudos to that, man.
I appreciate it.
I gotta
Well,
respect that.
giving him credit too, because I said that it's closed-minded, definitely, but it's a smart kind of closed-minded because you're talking about something where it's about your faith and where you'll end up when you die. So I mean, shoot, you don't want to question
Right.
that.
I mean,
Well, I mean,
because
I think you should question it though, because like if I'm wrong about something, I just care about what is true and what is not true.
But there's a chance that you're wrong about your thinking, though. This is something that you don't want to mess around with
No,
necessarily.
I'm agreeing, but that's what I'm trying to convey to Wayne. What I'm trying to
Well,
convey
Thaddeus,
is
I'm not even. Sorry.
what I'm trying to say is because we're fallible human beings and we could be wrong. I think it is a good idea to at least leave the door open to be convinced, or at least to at least write down what if.
no, I mean, you
No,
saying leave doors open to mean by that? Are you saying leave doors open to believe something else other than what you believe
Yes,
in?
you should as a Christian. Even the Bible tells you to test.
not really. It's probably a bad idea. Yeah.
Hold on,
Yeah,
hold on, because now you're going to something. All right, so all right, like I said, Wayne, as a perfect, like I said, Wayne is a perfect example of what you said before. I said like when I first met Wayne did not believe in evolution. You know what I'm saying? Like he strongly stand by his word. Nobody, I'm telling you, yeah, Google Hangout after Google Hangout, and there was nobody able to get him to budge. Him believe and not believing in evolution. You know what I'm saying? Like he used to have conversations with me over the phone, and many a time, like, no, evolution is not true. You know, the people crazy for believing in it, and I'm just like, I just was like just like, all right. Well, I didn't even know what evolution was at the time. So I was just like, okay, I didn't really get into the debate either because I didn't really care, not to say it like that, but I didn't really, pay any mind because I didn't really care about it. I didn't really care if evolution is true or not. To be honest with you, I didn't really care. What does it matter? You know what I mean? If it's true or not, you know what I mean? But, but I cared about him and how he really, he said he did his research on it. So my thing is, if at that time you was conformed to believe that evolution wasn't true, and you stuck by that decision, and you believed that for whatever time, like a year or something, he believed that for a long period of time. And like I said, so when you condition, or you might be conditioned, you might be conditioned to that, to believing in that, and it was like nobody was able to debate you about. I mean, they was debate you, but nobody was able to stir you off of what you believe in until
Well, actually,
until something actually had
that goes into a good point, because it actually
something
was
had to
after
come. Yeah, to actually something had to come up for you to be like, know what? Hold on, let me challenge this. You know what I'm saying? So to me,
right.
Something may have to like come in, that something may come up. Like I had many times at my job, somebody challenged me and say, yo, and it shook me a little bit. But what it did was it challenged my faith. To say like, all right, like, many people are going to challenge you to see if you really believe, like if you really doing what you say you believe in. Like for me, it was a good thing. When I heard somebody challenge me, I was like, hold on, that's a good thing, because maybe I need to go back and really, really look at everything all over. So it may actually strengthen my belief in God even more, because I was like, hold up, I really need to challenge God and see, like, all right, if you real, you got to show me something. You got to do this. You got to do that. If you real, you got to really show me you real. And one time, I was in desperate need of a job, and I was, I was living with my brother. I was living with my brother and his girlfriend at the time. I was really going through some things as looking for employment, like looking for a job. I was like probably 2 years. I think it was something like that. That I was out with a job, and I was like, you know what? I went to church one day, and I was just like, you know what? I was just really down. You know what I mean? And this pastor, he was a superintendent, and he preached his message. At the time, he asked everybody to come up. They needed prayer, and I was too shy, and too shy to go up. Long story short, this man, I went to after church. I just went to him and just told him what I was going through. Like, look, man, I ain't had a job in so long, and da 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 da. And he was just like, you know what? God told me to tell you that he's going to give you a job sooner than you think. And when you get that job, you're going to get a raise. You know, and I wasn't too big on when people say God told me this and God told me that. Because like I wasn't, you know, I was like, nah, I don't know. I was doing speculate about that. But at the end of the day, 2 weeks later, after that man prophesied and said that into my life, 2 weeks later, I got a job. I just happened to be with my mom at the time. You know, she was filling out applications and I happened to be with her at that time and I filled the application out and I literally got that job the next day. You know what I'm saying? And then not only that, the raise came 2 months later. So I was like, you know what? That kind of showed me that God was real because I prayed and I asked God, I said, well, if you real, you got to show me, you know, that you real. And if I prayed to him and only he knew what I was like, you know, people like my brother knew what I was going through, but only he knew what I asked for. You know what I'm saying? And I asked him literally in prayer. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I was like, that's what I'm just going, I just wanted to share that because that's what kind of like increased my faith in God. And I say, you know what? I can't say God, you know, and I can't like never change on God because God never changed on me. Every time I asked him for something and every time I prayed for it, it happened. You know what I'm saying? So I can't say I'm going to change my faith because of nothing. You know what I mean? I'm not going to change my faith.
It is your subjective experience. So, I mean, I can't really fault you for interpreting it that way, but that could have happened on its own as well. Like, it could just be a correlation of events.
Right. Yes, from an atheist standpoint, I wanted to say the same thing, but at the same time, here's the thing that I truly have to respect about Wayne. He does not force over in any bigoted way in the least amount. Like he does not force over. Oh, this is he doesn't just in a bigoted way say, hey, this is how it is. So God is science, and just make this corporeal assertion of religion into science. He hasn't done that once, not once in the half hour in which he's been talking, which is absolutely just amazing, fantastic. I've never seen that in anyone in any hangout on G Plus ever, which I have to give him the highest respect for that. How else could I say it? You know, I never ever want to really. I never ever am an advocate of pushing science into religion as equally as I'm never ever an advocate of religion pushing itself into science. And I really have to respect Wayne for his for that. I can't say that enough.
As far as what,
thank you so much, appreciate it.
What D Wayne originally was saying, the question to Wayne, like, wouldn't you ever question your faith? And you think that's a good thing? It's like, it's one thing to question the bad science, all right, that stuff that the Bible doesn't explicitly say, or you may be interpreting it wrong. Creationism, flat earth, that kind of thing. It's also another thing to question different interpretations of scripture. But it's quite another to question like your entire faith to the point where you don't become your religion anymore, especially when there's like a big concept.
Well, you know, it was just big because Wayne was. I'm sorry, I'm gonna cut you off. But Wayne was when Wayne said, you know, he because he based things off, and I like when I first met him, he was talking about science, you know, how science really proves the Bible is true, and how it's a good tool that you. Oh yeah, well you did say that, but my thing is like the thing is that science is a tool. You know what I mean that Wayne was saying one time he was saying that science is a tool that you can use to prove the Bible is true. Now I'm saying it right?
No.
Well, you did say that. You did say that, so I know I ain't crazy. You said that. You said science. You said
science is a tool to help us get to the truth, but it's not the only tool that we have.
Well, the reason why I say you said that because you use that scripture to test all things, prove all things, and you said that's
no.
Yes, you did.
Okay.
You got.
I'm not trying to say science proves the Bible is true.
No, what I'm saying is you
there
said the
because there.
scripture for
Wait,
testimony to proving all things. You said
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
what's basically what science is when you test things, you experiment. You know what I'm saying? And that's what you was basically
yeah. But
referring
I
to.
wouldn't go around telling people science proves the Bible to be true. What remember what I told you earlier? There's different types of truth, so you can find out scientific truths, and science can offer a
You
lot about
changing up,
that.
man. You changing up. You did say that, and I'm like, all right, it's okay. You can change it up though. You can change up what you said,
Okay.
but you did say
Oh,
that.
no, you're not. You're not understanding what I said. But there's different types of truths. So there's scientific truth, and then you have theological truth, like biblical truth and stuff like that. And we can use both of them so we can understand God better. Um, but yeah, science doesn't really say anything. Humans do, people do, scientists do. Um, but as far as like, okay, so I don't think it's a bad thing. It's your faith. Um, to find out if your faith is not true. Um, because you could be deceived and not know it. That's why people are deceived because they don't know that they are being beguiled or tricked.
Well, when you look at deceive, when you look at being deceived, all right. So what is that really like? Being deceived means the being deceived means like basically not saying what deceive means, but when you have somebody that's trying to deceive you, what are they trying to do? What are they trying to basically do? They're trying to deceive you from the truth,
No, well,
from
no,
what the truth is, right?
it's not that anybody else is deceiving you, but because we're fallible human beings, we could deceive ourselves. We're so susceptible to being tricked,
Deceive ourselves from
and we're
what?
so
The truth, right? Deceive ourselves from believing the truth, right?
yes,
All right, that's what I'm talking about. I'm saying when you say deceive, you're basically trying to say that you're basically you're going from the truth. So you know the truth, then you know the truth. Ain't nobody deceive you for real, for real.
Hey,
When you know the
wait,
truth,
wait.
if
I
you
want to
know the
ask you
truth,
something.
you can't nobody really deceive you at all. Like if
Wait,
you know the truth, you should have. You should. It's up to you to let somebody. If you let somebody deceive you or not, that's on you.
wait, wait. What do you think about the mass amount of fear porn videos out on YouTube? Take for instance these Nibiru Planet X fear porn videos. Let's say people like Steve Olson. I don't know if you know who that guy is, or Scott Kiln. These people that push out fear porn videos saying the end is nigh, all this stuff, in which they purposely, intentionally make charlatan videos, literally getting subs out of making fear porn videos, and they're doing this just to get a free lunch, just to get YouTube money. This is the kind of stuff I think Dwayne is talking about, where people can be easily deceived, and there have been suicides associated with this, and this is very serious stuff.
Well,
There's a difference between questioning conspiracy crap and the Christian faith as a whole. The conspiracy crap can still be crap. I say, yes, please challenge that kind of stuff and find out that a lot of it is crap. But
well,
to actually question his faith and to stop believing in Jesus specifically, that can be a pretty bad thing. Because he might find wrong information that tells him that God isn't real and stuff.
right, and I understand that, but I think also with tools. So with being skeptical, I just think people should be, and I'm a Christian saying it. I think people should be more skeptical of their own beliefs and be more critical of their beliefs. And in doing so, if your Lisa, somebody said something. I guess
No,
not. But
I mean, I hear you. I hear you.
in doing so, and being more critical and being more skepticism, you actually might, like Wayne did say earlier, you actually might find more reasons that that showcase your faith actually is true, your belief is true. or maybe not. Maybe you're in a different religion. You find out that your religion isn't true. Either way, you've done a good thing, because the whole point of this what we call life is to find out what is true and what is not true. And all I'm trying to do as an educator is just try and help people find out how to measure what is true and what is not true. So that's all I'm basically trying to do. Because if we have people just going around just believing stuff for no good reasons, then what's the point?
Regardless, people gonna do that. People gonna believe stuff for those very reasons because that's what they want to do. You know what I mean? Like just like people want to believe homosexuality is to go. It's okay, and there's nothing wrong with being homosexual. Like if somebody wants
Wayne. What we're really talking about here, I'm gonna get to the meat of it. We're talking about charlatans. That's it. We're talking about charlatans.
People who take advantage of people.
All right. Well, all right. I'm sorry about that, but I'm just basically trying to decipher, what Wayne was saying. I'm trying to dissect what he's saying a little bit because it was throwing me off.
We're talking straight up charlatans. There's no mystery about it. There's no code word or encoding about it. We're talking about charlatans.
What is charlatans?
People who scam people, or people who are like cult leaders.
Okay. All right. Well, the Bible do talk about that. It could basically call them hypocrites. You know what I mean?
That's hypocrite is a piece of it, but you might want to look up. Seriously, like go on Bing or Google, whatever your favorite search engine is. Just look at the term charlatan. That's something that the Great Debate community was, and that's one of the main reasons it was built was a battle against charlatans. If you don't know that by now, then
here's a really good example of what I think these people are kind of talking about. So maybe not so much questioning your faith, when maybe Wayne doesn't so much mean questioning, whether Jesus died for his sins and all that. I think he's more on the line of questioning people like, for instance, what's his face there? When I was younger, even on a non-scientific level, my mom still believes in the credibility of people like Benny Hinn. Like those faith healing and stuff like that. Yeah. She has no reason not to, and at the time, I didn't have a reason not to. Of course, I've looked into things now. But people like Wayne here, not D. Wayne, but Wayne here, if you don't look into things like that, it's really easy to be fooled by stuff like that. Because, hey, it seems to kind of line up with scriptures. Like, yeah, I guess people can heal somebody. Do you believe God heals people? Yeah, I guess God heals people. And it's like, well, yeah, then you should believe in it. But the thing is, you should probably look into stuff like that and see, maybe if it's actually legit or not. So it's not so much about questioning your faith as in questioning, what you believe on a deep level, whether you'll be a Christian or not, and maybe questioning certain little things like that. Things that are not explicitly said in the Bible, but at the same time, they seem to be kind of like extra biblical in nature. Like it's stuff in our everyday world which seems Christian-y, and we don't know for sure if it's actually legit or not.
Pretty much all of the chapters of Psalms and Proverbs.
I think I said that before because I was just saying that that's what I was telling Wayne, that if I had a coworker's challenge to me. It was basically, it made me want to study more and get more study on a lot of things, because ask me a question outside the Bible about certain things, like that's why when I met Wayne really opened that up for me a lot, because he don't just look at it from see but the thing is we are basically more taught as far as just focusing on the gospel and getting the gospel out and really ministering and reaching people and saving people and loving people, but that's where our focus is. And I was just telling Wayne one time the other day that when you go outside of what my focus, or what you go outside of something that that's not my specialty. You go outside of that, then yeah, you're absolutely right, because I actually supposed to know other things, but my target is just one thing. I got our target is more so on the gospel. And
And Wayne, that's perfectly normal for any adult
sorry
human
guys, I
being.
got a phone call. I'm gonna let y'all go. I'm gonna let a phone call to take.
Man, we miss you already. Seriously. What the hell are we gonna do now?
I think he made a fair point.
I know, but seriously, man, like without Wayne, what the hell are we gonna talk about?
I don't know. I'm about to end the broadcast though. I got to get ready for work in the morning. But it was good talking to you guys for a while though.
All right, man. Oh god. All right.
It's good. Wayne has a Google Hangout. You can message him.